A military judge wants Major Nidal Hasan to have a physical exam before she decides whether he can represent himself. Hasan is charged with 13 counts of premeditated murder and 32 counts of attempted murder for the Fort Hood massacre in 2009. Fox 4's Sean Rabb is one of only a dozen reporters in court for that hearing. Sean joins us now from Fort Hood.
Good evening, Clarice. The judge, Lieutenant Colonel Tara Osborne, says she wants Hasan to have that physical and have a report on her desk by Friday. She'll rule on Monday. That's the last legal hurdle, but all reporters were wide-eyed today at the hurdles of security in place around the courthouse on the post. Under tight security, the 12 media members selected to sit in the hearing were led to the courthouse at Fort Hood. If soldiers standing guard with serious weapons wasn't enough, that building surrounded by Conex containers, stacked 2, in some places 3 stories high to obscure any clean view. The front of the court building blocked by HESCO barriers, first used in the Gulf War 20 years ago. The welded mesh steel box-like cages filled with sand and small stones used as force protection against blast and projectiles. Family members of some of the victims made their way through the spiraling security. We talked to some reporters who've covered the many pretrial hearings about their impressions.
It's been a steady increase over the past year since trial was originally scheduled to begin. They've added more and more barriers, more and more soldiers, more checkpoints.
The defense team Hasan wants to dismiss and represent himself showed up ready for the hearing, but it would soon be clear they no longer know their role. Inside the court, military judge Colonel Tara Osborne asked Hasan, "You're saying you want to represent yourself. Is that what you want to do?" Hasan replied, "That is correct." Judge Osborne told Hasan tests showed he had sufficient mental capacity to understand his prosecution, but she wanted him to have a physical exam to see if his health could stand the rigors of 5 hours a day in trial. That physical will take place this week at the Darnell Community Hospital on post. Hasan agreeing only if Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Harry Wright was not involved, the major accusing him in court of having bias towards him. Until she rules, his defense team stays in place. That's when Lieutenant Colonel Chris Poppy, one of Hasan's attorneys, told the court, quote, "This is not familiar territory. We don't know what to do. I stand here with a client who doesn't want our representation. It puts us in an awkward position."
It's unclear to me why Major Hasan has split from this team. This team gave him a couple of significant legal victories, and I'm not sure exactly what had happened there.
Soon, all questions will be resolved, and the trial for the man accused of the worst mass shooting ever on a military installation will get underway. And Clarice, to give you another example of the security here, every time Hasan comes on post for one of these pretrial hearings, he comes and goes different ways. Today, he was driven in, but a helicopter flew him out. Clarice?
Yeah, Sean, that security that you showed us is absolutely extraordinary. If the judge decides from the doctor's report that Hasan can represent himself, what kind of challenges is that going to bring to the trial?
Well, I think a couple of three real quick. First of all, he's a psychiatrist, not an attorney. He doesn't know all the rules of law and evidence. Secondly, there's always the question of will he make some kind of political or religious statement and kind of take the focus off the trial itself. And imagine the tension in that courtroom when Hasan, representing himself as attorney, cross-examines victims he's accused of shooting or the family members of those he's accused of killing. Clarice?
Back in the courtroom on Monday. Sean Rabb live from Fort Hood. Thank you.